How would I react if I were told that my longtime friend and family doctor would end up in my bed with my wife? Most likely, I would laugh and twirl my finger at my temple. But life hits harder than any boxer, and the most interesting thing in this story is how I struck back without even clenching my fists. My wife's name was Melissa. Beautiful, well-groomed, always smiling. Everyone used to say, "You're lucky, man. Your woman's a real firecracker." Yeah, a real firecracker. One that ended up burning my whole soul to ashes. I trusted her. Trusted her like a fool, even when my gut whispered, "Something's off." You want to know when it all started? Right around the time she developed strange pains. "I'm going to see Dr. Lindley," she'd say. "He's a specialist in women's health." "Sure, no problem," I'd reply. I had no reason not to trust our family doctor. He'd been a friend of ours for about 10 years. We even had him photograph our wedding. That's how much we relied on him. He knew everything about us. And then, at some point, Melissa started going to see him suspiciously often. First once a month, then once a week. And then she'd leave work early for an appointment. I asked questions, she waved them off. "Why are you hovering?" "I just feel terrible, woman stuff." Me, being naive, believed her. Thought it was age, hormones, something like that. But with some women it's like taking a car to the shop every couple of days. If she's going that often, it usually means they're not just looking under the hood. The climax happened on a completely ordinary day. I got off work early because it was pouring rain, construction shut down, the crew got sent home. I walked in the door to a silent apartment. Only from the bedroom I could barely hear, "Wow, Doc, you really are a magician." I actually thought at first she was watching some video. But the bedroom door was slightly open. Not to torture myself, but I peeked in. And what do you think I saw? My friend, Dr. Lindley, in a white coat. She was wearing only socks. Both of them were so happy that, for a second, I actually wondered if I'd missed some big memo about how life is supposed to work. I walked out quietly. No yelling, no drama. Just got in my car and drove to my sister Amy's place. I've always known she's like a rock. She listened, cursed, not at me, then made me tea and said, "Listen, bro, this is actually nothing. I know a way we can answer back in style. No gutter tactics, no fists, but with a bit of flair." I squinted. I spent the night at Amy's. We sat in her kitchen in silence. I woke up on her couch with a splitting headache, feeling hollow inside. I didn't cry, just stared at the ceiling thinking, wow, years of trust, down the toilet. By our own hands, our own bodies. Amy set a cup of coffee in front of me, sat across the table, and quietly said, I haven't seen you like this for a long time. If you want, we'll do something. Not to get revenge on her specifically, but so you can see what you're really capable of, and so both of them realize you're not one to mess with." "Go on," I answered. "If you've got an idea, lay it out. Just no fights, no smashed windows." "That's not me." She smirked. "Well, since you insist on playing clean, we'll do it like adults. Remember my friend Veronica?" Veronica, tall, confident, with a smirk that makes men forget their wife's birthday. She's a journalist, actually. Sometimes she appears in public service ads. Sometimes she writes articles. Amy went on. "Right now there's a marketing campaign going on in the city for a private medical clinic. They're looking for couples who've supposedly been treated there and happily resolved their issues. Like, trust your doctor. Key to a healthy family." And I tensed up. "And here's the thing. You and Veronica can pose as that happy couple cured by the doctor. And guess who the face of that campaign is? Lindley." It hit me like a jolt of electricity. "You serious?" "Absolutely. He's their star in all the posters. All big smiles, arms around patients like some saintly healer. Now imagine," Amy says, "those same posters suddenly feature you, with Veronica. A couple healed by Dr. Lindley. But in reality, you're Melissa's husband. And Veronica is supposedly your new wife. And you're both smiling like everything's perfect." The plan was genius. We did a photo shoot at that same clinic, everything by contract. In the shots, me in a white shirt, Veronica in a summer dress, holding my hand, a sign in the background that reads, "Dr. Lindley helped us find happiness." Another shot. We're in an exam room, laughing like we just heard a great joke. It all looked super wholesome, Just a typical ad campaign for their website and brochures. Only one little twist. The faces were real. The photographer captured us perfectly. 2 weeks later, the pictures went to print. Posters on buses, in hospitals, on billboards around the city. Melissa definitely saw them. Oh yes, she did. Amy told me she froze in front of a big billboard at a bus stop, staring for a good 10 minutes. Then she went pale and walked away. But that was just the beginning. Word reached Lindley that one of the patients in his ad was actually the husband of his lover. He flipped out, started calling the clinic, demanding they remove the images. But it was too late. Everything was signed, sealed, no contract violations. That's when the real blow came. A patient, some guy in his 40s, saw the poster and said, "Wait a minute, that's the same doctor? I thought he was, well, honest. But now we have this bizarre situation where a lover's family is advertising his services? Is this some kind of joke?" It sparked a buzz. Then the internet chatter began. Rumors that the doc was sleeping with a patient's wife, then using happy couples to advertise his clinic. And once gossip starts, good luck stopping it. Within a week, Lindley was temporarily suspended. Within 2, his name vanished from the clinic's staff listings. A month later, he left town. Rumors can do the job. As for me, I was thrilled. No fists, no screaming, no parking lot brawls. Just a photo shoot. Just an ad. Sometimes the strongest blow is the one you deal with a smile while your enemy can't figure out how it suddenly hurts so much. 2 weeks after our photos with Veronica appeared around town, I'd become a local legend in a good way. Even a neighbor who used to barely nod at me gave me a wink one morning. "Saw you on that billboard. Smooth move, bro. That's revenge with brains." I didn't smile. I just nodded. By then, it wasn't about revenge anymore. I just felt like I was finally on solid ground. No lying, no betrayal, no humiliation. Melissa showed up 4 days after the ad went live. First, she called, endlessly. Different numbers, same voice. I wouldn't pick up. Then she started texting. At first, short. "We need to talk." Then, more agitated. "You did this on purpose, right? Are you crazy? Do you want to destroy everything?" And finally, the intriguing ones. "Sam, I miss you. I don't know what came over me. It was all so stupid. Please forgive me. I finally understand. You were the closest person to me." I read it all like a spectator, as if she was writing to someone else entirely, someone who no longer existed. I didn't reply. One day, she showed up in person. I was coming out of a grocery store, and there she was by my car, holding a box of my stuff. Even the t-shirt I thought I'd lost ages ago. "Sam, please, just hear me out," she said in that same tearful tone that used to stir my sympathy. Now it just made me cringe. "You've already said enough." On the bed. With the doctor. With the moaning and everything. I heard it all. It was a mistake. We were just going through a rough patch. I don't know how it happened. She was trembling, tears rolling down her cheek. I didn't cut her off. Let her spill it all. Then I quietly said, "You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. But everything's different now. I'm alone." He left. He dumped me. She almost screamed. And there it was, the truth. Not remorse, just anger that her lover wouldn't stand by her when things got hot. I looked her in the eye. "So what do you want now? My pity? A place to crash, like you're some stray cat thrown out by neighbors?" She froze. "I'm not a cat," she whispered. "Really? Because that's exactly how you acted. Wandering off to whoever's place seemed coziest, purring when fed, and now you crawl back the moment you're tossed aside? Not happening." I got into my car and drove off. She remained there in the parking lot, that box in her hands, her face stripped of the confidence she'd once worn so effortlessly. That evening, I texted Amy. "Final scene's done." She showed up. I said my piece. "I feel clean." Her reply was short. "Proud of you. Now go live. For real." After Melissa left that parking lot, I didn't feel triumph. I felt peace. Like someone turned off the background noise in my head. I went home, sat on the balcony with a mug of tea, and realized, it's over. I don't need to wait or hope or rage anymore. I'm free. A couple of days later, Veronica messaged me. "How are you holding up?" "I'm okay. Actually, it feels like life just got lighter. I was thinking, we look so cute in those pics. Maybe we should meet again. No photographer, no clinic ads, just for real. I smiled. Not because I'd been waiting for it, but because it genuinely interested me. Veronica wasn't just some tool for revenge. She was the one who never pushed, never pried, never demanded. She didn't need me to explain why, at 40, I looked at the world like a war vet. She just sat next to me. And that was enough. We met in a small cafe. No drama. Just tea, pie, and two tired but honest people. I looked at her and thought, so this is where you've been all these years. While I was trusting Melissa's lying eyes, you were out there living, laughing, making your own way. And now you're here with me, and I feel calm. With Veronica, everything was slow. No rushing. No, when are you moving in? No, when's the wedding? We just started spending time together. Cooking dinner. Making pancakes on Sundays. Watching movies under a blanket on Friday nights. No fights, no interrogations, no pointless jealousy. Melissa never showed up again. Rumor had it she left town, maybe to relatives, or just somewhere far from the scandal. No one saw Dr. Lindley either. As my friend put it. That's it, bro. Their season ended. Weather changed. Summer's here. And for me, it was indeed summer, outside and in my heart. Sometimes the pain doesn't vanish through therapy or time. It goes away the moment you finally meet the right person and realize everything before was just a rough draft. One day, Amy said, "You know, you sound different now. Calmer." Yeah, because I'm not at war anymore. Not with myself, not with the past. Now Veronica and I sometimes walk past that clinic. She jokes. Big stars of the advertising world walk these halls, you know. Exactly. I grin. Still haven't been paid my talent fee. She squeezes my hand. And I never got my big spotlight. And that's the real victory, realizing that after betrayal, you can remain yourself. Not bitter, not broken, and find someone who would never dream of crushing you. I thought that was the end of the show. Curtain closed, cast exit. But fate apparently had one more trick up its sleeve, something almost funny. About 6 months went by. I was already living with Veronica, peaceful, stable, no surprises. And one day, Amy calls. "Are you sitting down?" "Yeah." "Now what?" "You won't believe this." Lindley opened his own clinic. Where? A neighboring city. And guess what he's calling it? I felt a twinge of dread. I have no idea. The Family Trust Clinic, Dr. Lindley. Oh my God. Is he serious? Amy burst out laughing. And guess what else? He's launching a social media ad campaign. And you'll never guess what he did. He took our old photos, yours and Veronica's, cut out his own face from another poster, and photoshopped himself in between you two. Like, here's the happy couple under the great doctor's guidance. I nearly choked on my tea. And why are you telling me this? You know who works at the city's Department of Public Health, right? That's when I realized. Round 2 was about to begin. Within a few days, we compiled a nice, professional complaint. A doctor practicing without the proper license. A clinic lacking official accreditation. Advertising materials using doctored images. And most importantly, using our likeness without consent. To top it all off, Veronica filed a lawsuit claiming emotional distress from the unauthorized use of her image. On the day of the hearing, Lindley showed up in his favorite half-unbuttoned shirt and a folder of papers. When asked why he'd used other people's photos, he said, "But this is art. We're all striving for the perfect couple." The judge didn't bother laughing. They just handed him a hefty fine. That same evening, our story hit the local TV news in a segment called Weekly Oddities, when ads backfire. As for Melissa, rumor says she found a gig at a private massage studio, dabbling in spiritual practices. Maybe after such karmic slaps, she really does need some reincarnation. Veronica and I, meanwhile, celebrated our year since the catastrophe by buying a heart-shaped cake and a knife engraved with, "Cut wisely." Moral? If someone cheats on you, you don't have to take brutal revenge. Sometimes all you need to do is step back and let them return to their true selves. They'll ruin everything on their own.